What's up, YouTube? Back in the shop. Bittersweet moment today. The Pandem R33 Skyline is heading out. So the new owner is on his way down from Seattle to pick it up, and it's going bye-bye. Man, this is a good looking car. Let me give you a walk around real quick in case you missed the previous build videos. So it's an R33 Skyline GTST, factory turbo model. And I did the suspension, Hikest Elite, Silver's coilovers, wheels and tires, full Pandem wide body kit, along with a bunch of engine work because I bought the car with some engine issues. So you can watch previous videos on what I had to do to the RB25 DET to get this thing back up to good operating condition. Only 40,000 miles on this thing. And my buddy Mike that does my R34 GTTR conversions paint matched the Pandem kit to the factory two-tone, and it came out so nice. And my buddy Christian that works at Radium came over and polished the chassis so it would be ready for the freshly painted body kit. Inside is bone stock and super clean. And since I had to do a bunch of repairs to the engine, I did some upgrades. It's still running factory ECU and factory tune, but as you can see, I did a Freddy manifold with intercooler piping and a front mount intercooler. And I also did a power steering cooler and just cleaned it up, made it a lot more simple. As far as the power and drivability, it's still stock ECU, stock boost, stock tune. So runs and drives like a bone stock car, but looks nice. Engine bay looks nice. I put a full custom straight pipe exhaust on it, so it sounds really good. And yeah, gonna be kind of sad to watch it drive away. So while I'm waiting for him to show up, I'm just kind of reorganizing the shop a little bit. Got the R34 sitting back there. Hood's popped because it's got the battery tender hooked up to it. Nate's car, Shane came over last night and we kind of just put the body kit and tube front back on, but as you can see, it's spaceship mode because we're still on the hunt for a 5.3 to swap back in here. Shane's going on vacation for all next week, so we just thought we'd put it back together so there's not parts scattered all over, and we'll address it when he gets back. I got my VQS13 pretty much ready to go. Fixed the fuel pump and fuel tank issue. Now I just got to go to another drift event to test it out, but the street driving I did the last couple days, it's been running really good. Still can't get the driver's door open. At Final Bout, my buddy Austin straightened out in front of me and kind of gave me a kick in the door with the rear end of the Ecotec S14. So not a big deal, hot rod style, just climbing through the window. Jessica's car, been waiting for a few pieces to show up. The new radiator did show up. I did modify the heat shield to cover that boost coupler that popped. And I also went ahead and got a hold of Arm Motorsports that sold us the full bolt-on kit and got a much simpler hose for this side. Not only did I delete the AC and all the AC lines, so there's more room for that hose for the intercooler, but also they sell a one-piece intercooler coupler that snakes all the way from the intercooler up to the charge pipe. I didn't know they had that. Otherwise I would have just put it on when I did the full bolt-on kit install. So that just showed up this morning. I'll probably get that installed this weekend, and they went ahead and sent me a replacement coupler for the other side that popped. So yeah, got some work to do. I'm also gonna get started on another swap project that I've had sitting around. And I might do two at the same time for a good comparison of the builds. Same car, two different drivetrains. I'll update you on that later. Later. Got a little extra room in the shop now without the 33 in here. As you can see, I've got the drive belt back on. I did get on FCP Euro's website and ordered a kit for the AC delete. It replaced that pulley with a different size pulley and then a new belt that was the right size for the setup with the new pulley and no AC. Here's the part numbers for that if anybody's interested. You got that belt. And you got that pulley. Next step is going to be to get the heat shield bolted on. And I still have the rear turbo pipe hooked up. So I need to push that heat shield back a little bit further, like another inch, so I can bolt it on. And then I can take the front Y pipe. This is the coupler that blew off. And I can put the new coupler on and slide it on. Making some progress. So I've got both of the turbo outlet pipes on with the new arm coupler. And I got the heat shield put back to normal because, like an idiot, I cut it the first time because I didn't have it installed properly. So heat shield's in, outlets are on, and the inlets are on. So I'm assuming now with the new upgraded pipe for this side, it should be pretty easy to do, especially with the AC gone, with the radiator and fan all in. So now I'm going to put the radiator and fan in, get that all installed and all the water lines hooked up, and then I'll put the front mount intercooler back on, and then I'll put that hose on, and then the cone filters, and that should be good. Radiator's in, and now you can see it because the AC condenser's no longer there. Front mount intercooler's in. Got this side hooked up to the turbos. I got the new upgraded one-piece silicone coupler. Snug on here, it's not tight yet because I might have to rotate it on the top to get it to line up with the charge pipe. Yeah, coming back together. The new one-piece pipe on this side, man, so much better. Just topped it off with water. Time to crank her up, let her get up to operating temperature and make sure she's not leaking. And if she's not, I can put the front bumper back on and the front wheels and get her off the lift. Jessica's car is good to go. Test drove it. It is fast AF and runs great. So I was finally able to get that off the lift. And now it's done, ready to go. Time to start the next build. What is it? I'm sure you guys already know. If you've been watching the videos, then you know I have a couple X100 chassis that I imported myself. And I have a 2JZ swap that needs a home. So here's the two X100s that I have. I got a Chaser GX100 and a Mark2 GX100. The Chaser is a little bit nicer and obviously worth more money and costs more money because it's a Chaser. But not only that, it does have a decent pearl white paint job, really clean interior, and only 106 kilometers. bone stock car. Runs and drives great. They're both running right now, but you can't really tell because they're so quiet. The Mark II, on the other hand, is the perfect car to swap. And the reason why is because it's a pearl white car, but it has lots of paint issues. The hood is toast. The roof is toast. Got a broken rain guard. The chassis is really clean. There's no rust on either of these cars. They're both super clean. This also has the Series 2 rear end, so that's really cool and desirable. But just like the Chaser, bone stock, pretty clean interior. And 113 kilometers. So on paper, this looks like the one that would make more sense to swap, since it's a little more beat up with the paint job. The interior is not quite as clean as the Chaser. And you can see like the headliners coming down right there a little bit. Nothing major, just little things. And being a Mark II, it's still desirable because it's a Series 2. But it's just not worth as much money as a Chaser because that's the Chaser. Not really sure what I was planning to do with either of these cars when I imported them. I just figured I'd import them because they both popped up for smoking deals in Japan. And I thought, what the heck, maybe I'll swap them, maybe I'll daily them, maybe I'll just turn around and flip them. But then I came across the 2J while this one was en route. So kind of my plan at that point was, okay, the 2J is going to go into this car. So let me get another one ordered up in case I want one to drive around or resell or something. Because this I figured would take a little longer to be ready to sell. So my plan as of right now is to throw the Chaser on the lift and yank the drivetrain out. That way I can start getting it ready for the swap. I have lots and lots of parts. I have probably 90% of everything ready to go. I have a body kit for it. I have a big brake kit upgrade, which those should be pretty cool. And with the extra power of having a 2J, the big brake kit will be a nice thing to have on this chassis. I do have another swap in mind for this one. I'm thinking about putting the American 2JZ in this one. So for now, let's get the Chaser on the lift and start tearing it apart. So usually when I start a project, just to kind of go you guys through my mental preparation, obviously I like to have a clean workspace, so I make sure all my tools are put away. This is like a temporary workbench for when I'm doing something quick and easy, like I had to do on Jessica's car the last few days. So I just set this up, and that way I can take parts off and lay them out in order. And then when I go to reassembly, I can put the parts back on the car back in the same order they came off. I'm left over with a bunch of extra parts off this because I upgraded from these pieces to the new pieces that our Motorsports sent me. And then sometimes I'll just use my workbench on wheels, which has my basic tool kit that I take to the track, and then some other basic tools on it. And it's a nice big heavy duty tool bench, and sometimes I'll use this one to do projects too. Step one is going to be clean this workbench off in case I need to use this. And then I also need to clean off this work table. Put everything away back into my toolboxes back there, or onto these shelves, wherever it goes. So now it's time to get it on the lift and taking a lot of stuff off that's really quick and easy and big, so that I can get the motor ready to come out. So in order to avoid making too big of a mess in my shop, I'm gonna do this swap in stages. So stage one is gonna be drivetrain. I took the wheels off already. A lot of that's gonna be basically so I don't bang my head on them when I'm going underneath the car to do stuff. But I'm not gonna actually, even though I have all the suspension and big brake kit for this car already, I'm not gonna be tearing all that apart yet. So I'm gonna do the drivetrain only. And then once I have the car running and driving with the swap, then I'll tackle the body kit, suspension, angle kit, and big brake kit upgrade. I've got the under trays all off. I'm draining the coolant now. I think I'm gonna leave the oil in the motor and just start draining like the power steering and coolant and taking all the other accessories and stuff off. Whatever I have to take off to get the drivetrain out. Quick progress update. It's been about half an hour. Got the battery out, the radiator out, got all the air box intake stuff out, AC condensers out, and all the AC hard lines to the firewall. I've got the engine pretty much disconnected on this side, the front, this side, and the firewall. So now I got it up in the air. I can take off the exhaust and the front half of the drive line. And I probably will drain the fluid since I'm gonna pull the engine and trans out together. That way when I tilt it, I don't have to worry about any fluid coming out the back. I'm gonna drain that fluid right now while I take the exhaust off. And then I should be almost ready to pull this thing out. All right, I've got the 1G ready to come out. You can see I put this block here so the engine wouldn't tilt too far and slam and pinch anything on the firewall. So it just dropped like 2 inches when I disconnected the transmission mount. But I've got the engine mounts. Engine mount is undone on top and bottom. Transmission mount is actually completely out. Disconnected the shifter, wiring's all disconnected, hoses, lines, everything. I'm gonna go eat dinner and then I'm gonna come yank this out. But I started yanking and realized I forgot the fuel lines. So those are disconnected now and she should be coming out. All right, not bad. If I would have just worked on it consistently, probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But I took breaks to play with the kids and eat dinner and stuff. So Chaser is now stripped of the drivetrain. Very nice. So if you've watched previous videos, you know about the 2JZ that I've been building on an engine stand for a while now. And the plan is to put that in here. But first, I'm gonna pick up the American 2JZ. See if you guys can guess what it is. Drop a comment below and see how that fits in here. Because if I can make that work, or if it looks like that's a possibility, then I'm gonna be putting that in the Mark II once I get this swap done. Then I can kind of compare them both side to side.
Are you sure there's almonds in here?
Cute.
Just a baby. Hi.
I love like how quiet they
Their
are.
little mouth. What kind of bird are they?
If anybody wants a 65,000-ish miles 1G with an auto trans for pretty much cheap, hit me up. As you can see, I was planning on selling it for somebody for a spare motor, so I didn't think anybody would want to swap it. So I did just cut the harness here. I left the pigtail so we could splice into the standalone harness for the 2J. And also so I could get the motor out tonight, I went ahead and cut the main harness through the firewall. Since again, not planning on selling this to anybody to use as a swap. The engine and transmission is pretty much just good for spare parts or somebody that has a GX already. So the harness really isn't needed. But I just chopped it there to get the engine out tonight. A few things I have left to do in the engine bay is get rid of the ABS. So I gotta do an ABS delete, redo some of the brake lines. And I think that's pretty much it, and clean it. So next step is gonna be to get the American 2J picked up and see how well that fits in here and if it's gonna be a viable swap for the Mark II. It is an inline 6 also, so I'm hoping that it'll fit in here just fine. I'm worried about it being a little tall, and the oil pan is a known issue. But if all I have to worry about is the oil pan and it's not too tall, I think it'll be good. Stay tuned for the next video, guys. I don't know if it'll be an update on this or a park update, but I'll definitely tell you what the American 2J is in that video, and I'll probably be going and picking it up and test fitting it in that video. So stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.